Hello, and you're very welcome to the Faithful Podcast channel. My name is Liam White, and today we're going to be reviewing the weekend's action in the Malloy Precast and Environmental Systems Offaly Senior Hurling Championship. We had action in the Senior Championship, the Senior B Championship, and the Junior A Championship over the weekend. So we're going to break down mainly the Senior A games, and we're going to give mentions to the Senior B games, as well as mentioning the results of the Junior A games. And first of all, before we start this whole review of the weekend's action, I want to send a massive congratulations to David Sullivan and his Offaly Camogie team, who've reached the All-Ireland Intermediate Camogie final after beating Antrim on Saturday in St. Conleth's Park by a goal and 16 to 2 goals and 12. A terrific performance from the girls to have rectified the defeat that they had to Antrim earlier on in the campaign, to have gone on to beat Meath, to beat Westmeath, to beat Carlow, and to now get a 1-point win over Antrim and seal their place in an All-Ireland final where they will be facing Kerry on August the 10th in Croke Park is a remarkable achievement. So congratulations to David, congratulations to the girls, and we'll be wishing them all the best of luck next month, and hopefully they'll be bringing home an All-Ireland title to the faithful county. But we're going to start the weekend's review action, and we're going to start with the game that took place in Ballinamere, which was Ballinamere 2 goals and 14 points, Coolderry 2 goals and 22 points. This was probably the most intriguing game of the weekend, I would say, because you have Ballinamere, who were last season's county finalists. They have 7 or 8 players on the Offaly senior hurling panel, and you'd be looking at them as a team that could be making the step up this year. You know, could they challenge Kilcormac and go that extra step further this year? Because they very nearly won the Offaly final last year. It was only 2 points in it, a puck of a ball in it. So there would have been a lot of eyes on them for this game. But they were coming up against a Coolderry team who, obviously, people would have been maybe ranking them as maybe 4th, 5th favourites to win the Offaly Championship. But as we know with Coolderry, all it takes is one win and they're off. And that's exactly what's happened here. And now they will be ranking themselves as big believers that they can win this year's Offaly Senior Hurling Championship. When they get one win, they start to go on a run. Owen Burke at corner forward had an unbelievable game. Daniel Miller coming off the bench, scoring 2 goals and 2 points in the space of 10, 11, 12 minutes, and getting his goal after less than 30 seconds on the pitch, his first goal, which was unbelievable. David King at centre back, Willie Malone, Shane Ryan at full forward had a super second half. Kevin Connolly worked his socks off in the half forward line. Connolly's at cornerback as well, had a super game. So Stephen Corcoran pulled off a marvellous save from Aaron Maher in the first half. So really it was an unbelievable performance from Coolderry, a savage performance, and they laid down a marker this year that they mean business in this year's Offaly Senior Hurling Championship, and they can be a contender to cause an upset in this year's championship as well. So don't be sleeping on Coolderry. They are fully awake for this season's championship. As for Ballinamere, I was disappointed by them, I will admit that. I thought Dan Burke had an excellent game. I thought Brian Duignan, he was only back a couple of days from the States. Maybe it was a bit too soon to be maybe playing him in a game like this, considering he is only just back from the States. He had a few nice moments in the first half. His free taking wasn't too bad either. You know, there was a strong wind there on Saturday, which might have been difficult enough to see on TV, but there was a very strong wind there, which was hard to contain with at times. But I think it was just a real flat performance from Ballinamere. I don't think they'd be happy with how they performed, and I do expect them to bounce back. You know, they have the quality to do it. They do have Dan Ravenhill to come back as well, which will be a massive boost to them, but they'll need to perform much, much better the next day against Tullamore in O'Brien Park if they're going to stand any chance of getting out of the group and trying to secure themselves an automatic spot in the semi-finals. Otherwise, they'll have to go through the quarter-finals, which might not be the worst thing for them to a degree, but they will have to improve from this performance because it just simply wasn't good enough on Saturday. Coolderry were much hungrier from the start. They took their chances well. They were opening up gaps which Ballinamere just weren't able to do themselves. And it was an unbelievable win for Coolderry to start off their season. And they'll be absolutely delighted with that. And they'll go into the Clarine game, or the Sir Kieran game, which is their home game now in 2 weeks' time, full of confidence. And they should, in my opinion, they should probably win that game in 2 weeks' time as well. And Brian Carroll's doing a real good job with them at the moment. And Coolderry right in the mix for the Offaly Championship this year. There's no doubt about that. One of the other big surprises of the weekend saw Belmont take a draw at home to Kilcormac. It finished Belmont 15 points, Kilcormac 15 points. Kilcormac got lucky here. We have to admit that. You know, we have to admit that the county champions, they weren't on their A game at all in Moystown on Saturday afternoon. The weather was difficult, but it was difficult for both teams. And even though they were missing Oisín Kelly, even though Leon Fox has transferred to a club in Louth, Belmont looked the far hungrier side. They looked a much better side, particularly in the first half, and even at stages throughout the second half as well. They were excellent. They took their scores really well. hit a few poor wides, which they will be looking back on with a small bit of regret. And this was a golden opportunity for them, and hit a dagger to Kilcormac and give them their first defeat in the Offaly Championship since 2022. But alas, it just wasn't to be for them in the end. Peter Geraghty had a massive second half for Kilcormac. He scored 4 points in the second half. James Mahan, I thought, had a savage game at cornerback. I thought Brett Kavanagh did well in patches as well. Damien Camartin had a solid game midfield. I thought Jack Screeney did well, particularly in the second half, was a lot on the ball a lot more, and was defending fierce well. Connor Slevin, albeit maybe his free taking on the day, unlike the league final, wasn't as good as it could have been. When he needed to step up in the last minute to take his long range free to level the game, he did. And it showed good character from Kilcormac, even though it wasn't a good performance, and they'll know that themselves. They were missing a lot of players. They're missing Adam Screeney, they're missing Charlie Mitchell, Enda Grogan didn't play, Turner Guinan didn't play, and they still managed to get themselves a draw. So in the grand scheme of things, it could have been a lot worse. But for Belmont, yeah, it's a tough draw for them to take. But it shows good signs that they can compete with the best. And I should fully expect them to give it socks in the next couple of rounds. And there's no telling where they can go in this year's championship. I certainly expect them to be a lot better than they were last year, and they're showing early signs of it. Elsewhere in the Offaly Senior Hurling Championship this weekend, there was a massive win for Burr. They took on Sarah Kieran, which took place in Clarine. The result was Sarah Kieran 15 points, Burr 31 points. It was a real cruise control game for Burr. They were really on it from the very start of the game. I believe the score was 18-9 at half time, and they just never looked like losing the game, really. Owen Cahill finished the game with 14 points, 10 from play. Just an unbelievable performance from him. For Sarah Kieran, look, it's a really, really tough situation that they're in at the moment. They are a small enough club in the grand scheme of things in terms of size, and it's very good of them to be putting out teams every single year. It was a lot more of their older guard that were performing here on the night, really. But just overall, you would worry for them this year. Their aim this year is to absolutely just stay in the championship, and with the games to come against the likes of Coolderry, against the likes of Ballymere, even against the likes of Tullamore now, it's hard to see them picking up wins from this point on. Look, they're a proud club and they will give it absolutely everything that they have in every single game possible. But I just don't see them picking up enough points between now and the remainder of the championship. I think it's going to be a real difficult end of the season for them. For Burr, they will have tougher challenges ahead, but it was good to see Ben Miller having a good game for them. Owen Cahill obviously getting back to form for Burr, scoring 14 points. But they will have tougher challenges ahead. You'll learn a lot more about them, I feel, when they get to play the likes of Coolderry, when they get to play the likes of Ballymere. But still, for a first round game, an opening game, it's a good win. Good to get their feet on the ground, and they move on from there. In the other game, which took place at the weekend, the final game of the weekend, Shinrone 19 points, St. Rynas 17 points. It was a real nip and tuck game, really. There was not much to really separate the sides. Shinrone were leading 13-9 at half time. I believe they had about 15 wides or something like that in the first half, 13 wides. I think, it was very 50-50 with their shooting. They weren't taking their chances with the wind, which was an unfortunate thing from them. Coming down the home stretch, the sides were level, and it could have gone either way. Rynas were putting up a great battle, especially away from home. But in the end, it was Shinrone who clinched the victory. DJ McLaughlin had a really, really good performance on the night. He scored 5 points in the end from play. So, real solid performance from him. Killian Sampson had a good performance as well from centre back, as you would expect. He's one of Offaly's best players. He was one of Offaly's best players this year in both the league and the championship. So, no surprise there. Shane Rigney had a good game for St. Rynas, got 3 points, I believe, in the end from play. So, good game overall. Great win for Shinrone, as they look to build on, their good form that they've shown throughout the year so far. And they'll take a good team to beat them now as the championship goes along. I believe it's Belmont next for them, because I think Kinnity are playing Rynas in the next round. Cormac have a bye, so it'll be a real interesting game, them and Belmont in the second round. Probably be a hard one to call. I'd probably favour Shinrone. I just think I feel like they're in a good reign of form at the moment, and to get a win, a big morale boosting win, is huge for them at the moment. For St. Rynas, it's a real uphill battle from here. They have Kinnity the next day, which will be no easy feat. But then it's Kilcormac after that, so they're going to have to pick up a win from somewhere if they're going to have any hope of getting out of the group now, because it's going to look very, very difficult from here. And obviously Belmont will be no pushovers either, so yeah, it's gotten a lot tougher for St. Rynas, but they are a proud club, and there's no reason to suggest that they couldn't get a win out of somewhere in the next couple of games. Briefly, in the Senior B Hurling Championship, Kilcormac unbeaten streak in the championship since 2023 has come to an end. Lusma, they were 220 to 15-point winners over Kilcormac in Kilcormac. Evan Kelly scored a penalty towards the end of the game, which clinched victory. And overall, Lusma deserved the win. They were much better than Kilcormac on the day on Sunday. And it's a great morale boosting win for them, like I mentioned already. Lusma will now take huge confidence from this, and they'll absolutely be aiming to win the Senior B this year now. After that, they'll be fearing no one in the group. But great win for them. Carrigan Riverstown took a massive scalp as well. They took down Clodagh Gales 218 to 16 points over in Killy. Clodagh Gales very reliant on Liam Langton to get a large majority of their scores. They were missing a couple of players, which impacted them with the junior team as well, which went out and played the next day. So it's an unfortunate result from them, but it is the opening round. They will learn a lot from it. As for Carrigan Riverstown, brilliant win. They'll have absolute huge aspirations to win the Offaly Senior B Championship this year. They reached the semi-finals last year, won the intermediate the year before, got to an intermediate Leinster final, or was it the junior final? I can't remember off the top of my head now, but they got to a Leinster final, and they're a proud club, have some terrific players on their books, the likes of Colin King, Liam Hoare, Caleb Larkin, real good young up-and-coming players in the county. So, just a fantastic win for them overall. Andrew Coakley had a massive game for Carrigan Riverstown. He scored 2-3 in this game, and he was just absolutely sensational for Carrigan Riverstown. A big reason why they won this game. So they move on now to the next round, and they'll be absolutely confident against anyone, especially against Kilcormac, who they host in their next match. And finally, Clara got a huge win over Coolderry. They were in a relegation battle last year, which they definitely did not want to be in. They've been a team that's been trying to make that push up to senior over the last couple of years, and this could be the victory that boosts their confidence and gets them back on track in trying to climb up the ladder in the Offaly hurling circles. They beat last year's intermediate champions Coolderry by 5 points. A crucial victory for them, especially to go away from home to beat Coolderry. Massive win. So well done to them. And they look forward to the next round now. And just to round up the rest of the results in the Offaly Championship at the weekend, we had the beginning of the Junior A Championship. So the results there: Clodagh Gales 113, Kilcormac 1 goal and 17. Brosna Gales 6 goals and 31 points, Crinkle 9 points. It finished Ballishkenock Killavilla 218, Kinnity 1 goal and 14, and it finished Tullamore 3 goals and 19 points to Edenderry's 2 goals and 12 points. And there was also a big result in the relegation Division 1 League decider between Tullamore and Kinnity. Tullamore were 119 to 1-9 winners over Kinnity, so they have survived Division 1 League hurling for next year. For Kinnity, it's relegation, probably a tough result for them, but they were missing players on the night, and they'll be turning their focus now, both sides, to the championship in 2 weeks' time, with Tullamore hosting Ballinamuir in O'Brien Park and Kinnity welcoming St. Rhinus to their grounds in a couple of weeks' time. So that's a wrap-up of the Offaly Championship campaign, the opening weekend in the Hurling Championship in the Senior B and Junior Championship. We'll be back in a couple of days' time to preview the upcoming Offaly Football Championship weekend, with only the 2 games this weekend in the Senior Championship, but a weekend that promises to be very intriguing indeed. Thanks a million for watching. If you like the video, then press the like button, subscribe if you're new around here, and I'll chat to you guys in the next one. Until then, chat to you soon.